So far, my creative world is chock full of basically one build type, villages and cities. Okay, that's two, but you get the point. While I'm definitely going to be making more, I feel it's time to create something different and get a bit of industry flowing in our world, so let's get bloody to it. Yes, that is right. I am here to confirm we are finally building something different, so... and so I think I've decided on probably this location here, okay? I am wanting to keep everything pretty close together. Oh my god, dude, that just gave me the idea. We haven't made an ocean village yet. We have made a lake village, but not an ocean. Oh, okay, next video, maybe. But so I'm really liking this area up here. It's already pretty flat in general. We do have like this kind of interesting looking, what even is this? This is like an underground water cave. Yeah, this is from the Tectonic mod. So it's like such a cool addition. Oh, that'd be so fun to explore in survival, man. Jesus. Dude, the frames are not good. I don't know what's happening right now. I know exactly what's happening. I'm on my freaking thumbnail shader pack that has like insanely high freaking settings. Oh my god, that's so much better. Okay, let's get started. First things bloody first. Of course, we're gonna have to do a lot of clearing out. And so the quickest and easiest way to do this is going to be with the script brush tool up yonder. We're gonna click in here and we're gonna change this over to clear foliage. Now we're just gonna hold control and left click to scale up the brush size, and we're just gonna start bloody well clearing. You know what I'm saying? Bang, there we have it. There is a massive open field for us. We've basically just created a plains biome right in front of our eyes. And so as much as I like this feature down here, I think I want to kind of generally smoothen this over. And so I think the best way to do this is going to be with the slope tool here. Let's make sure our block is set to grass. We can actually just right click, bang, there we go. I've got some freaking grass. I'm gonna make this a lot bigger. And so how the slope tool works is we essentially set our lowest point and then our highest point, which I think over here would be kind of cool. So we have like a bit of a cliff face, and then we just hold left click and just start drawing. And as you can see there, that is creating our nice general slope. Bang, let go. There we have it. Flattened bloody terrain. Obviously we need to change some blocks around and do some smoothing with the smooth tool here. So let's just scale this up. This one's a little bit laggy. Yep. And we're just gonna smoothen off a lot of this terrain around yonder. Honestly, that does not do much for how freaking laggy it is, man. Holy. Okay, maybe elevation tool is where it's at. Let's set this to flatten, increase the rate so it doesn't take freaking forever, man. And just hold left click and we're gonna flatten off our lumps and bumps and just kind of smoothen off some stuff. So the general layout I'm wanting for this mining area, I want a big stinking quarry in the middle first and foremost. Get a little bit of elevation going again to fix this, because it's, wow, man, under here is very messed up. What the hell? Now we need to figure out where we're gonna do our little quarry. And so with this, I'm kind of wanting to emulate basically a real life quarry. And so they kind of go down in like steps. I actually don't have a reference with me, but I know exactly what I want in my head. So I'm gonna set this back over to lower the elevation tool here, and I'm gonna change the rate. I'm gonna lower it a little bit back, maybe to 8, depending on how long this freaking takes. Let's scale the crap up out of this thing. Start in the middle, hold left click until we get to a depth we're happy with. Something like that. Then we'll change our mode back over to flatten, and then we'll get everything to this layer here. Oops, excuse bloody me. And yeah, so once we have this, essentially the idea is we keep going down in like a stair step kind of pattern. So we're gonna change this back to lower. We'll do this in the, oops, oh my god. We'll do this in the middle again, and then we'll go around and we'll kind of create the shape of this first layer. I'm hoping everything I'm saying here is making sense. There we go, that's looking pretty good. I do think this needs to be steeper. It needs to be almost just a sheer drop off. So for that, we have our fall off here. As you can see right now, it's kind of like a curved shape, but if we change this to just straight bloody flat, I think what should happen is it'll be a lot steeper. Yeah, it is making a bit of a difference. It's still, I really wish it would just be a sheer drop off like it says it should be here. So I don't know how to fix that. You can do a custom height map, but fucked if I know how to do that, man. Now, I think we're gonna do one more segment here. So let's start bloody clicking again. I think it would be cool to leave this layer kind of like that, where it's still, you know, it's still being excavated as we speak. So yeah, there we go. We have the shape of our quarry down. I don't care if it's not the most realistic thing, you know? I don't give a shit, okay? So just, I don't want to hear it. But now what it's time to do is go through with the painter brush tool and just fix up some crap, okay? So you can see we've got a lot of dirt and grass kind of coming in here, which we don't really want. All right, so I think that is pretty much the shape and the blocks of the quarry done. Obviously, we've got to add a lot of details in here. And, well, I have no idea what to add. Okay, I've just had a sudden realization that I've built this whole thing on an angle, and I want to add a building directly behind it, which means I'd have to make a diagonal building. And man, I don't know about you, but diagonal buildings, oh brother, they're not fun, okay? I mean, this one was pretty fun, and they do look pretty cool, but this is gonna be a big-ass building, and I just kind of feel like building it normally. So I'm gonna quickly go through and just kind of skew this so it's a little bit more straight on. Although, actually, before we do that, I do have an idea. I've just selected the whole thing. If we do cut, and then unlock rotation, and we can just rotate it. Let's see how good that works. Oh, okay. It looks like that's actually worked. Let's just paste that in. Dude, that actually worked. No way. How good is that? Thank God for Axiom, man. That's actually so good. Now we do have a bit of terrain to fix up here, so honestly, I'm not even going to do this as a time lapse. It's probably, yeah, it's going to be very boring. So I'll just be back when this is all fixed up. Okay, there is the general landscape done. It is still kind of rough, so maybe it's not actually done. I think what it's time to do is work on the main building, which is going to be situated right behind the quarry here. And that's going to be like our ore processing plant. And so, man, this is going to be quite a big building, and I need to figure out the block palette, everything like that. I have no idea. I feel like a brick kind of building is going to look really cool. And then I reckon maybe we'll get some pillars out of polished andesite. All right, so that's our block palette there. Let's go ahead and, you know, just start building, okay? We're gonna have to do a little bit by hand, like, you know, it's just the way it is, but, actually, we don't even need to texture this by hand, man. We can do this all with Axiom. How good's that? We are efficient builders out here, okay? All right, so already I'm thinking what we could do. We could have the walls inset. We could even make these pillars a little bit thicker, maybe like a 2x2 kind of pillar. Bang. Now what we can do, we can select this whole thing and we can just start stacking this to create our walls. And you can kind of see the scale I'm wanting to go with, okay? This thing's gonna be freaking big. That is gonna be a huge building. I probably should have added the windows in before I actually did all that. No, I think that's gonna be a winner there. And now to quickly add this to every window, we can once again just do this stack tool. Just grab that selection there and just stack this down. Bang, there's all of our windows. So now to get our second floor added in, what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab this whole thing and just stack it upwards. Man, that's a big building, but that's exactly what I want, and that's freaking sweet. Now, of course, we're gonna need to get some more details added on here, because right now, I mean, it is looking cool, but it is a little bit under detailed. Honestly, I think getting something like this one above the entrance would be quite nice. Now, I feel like these pillars need to stick out one extra block. I think that's gonna add a lot more depth. Well, it will add a lot more depth, but I think it's gonna be a really cool addition. Honestly, I'm liking the more simplistic kind of look. So let's just go ahead and get this added everywhere and see how it looks across the entire building. All right, now I think that is going to be a pretty good size. What we can do now is we can just copy this entire thing. Well, instead of just explaining it, let's freaking do it. There we go. So we got it copied. I'm going to just rotate it twice. All right, dude, there is all 4 walls of the building constructed. Now we need to figure out the roof. And I'm thinking just a simple slab roof is exactly what I'm wanting. We're going to get some nice dormers added on as well. Okay, so I ended up just building a little bit by hand. I cloned it up and up, and then I just cloned the whole thing over to the other side, and that's what we've got there. I also just decided on freaking andesite for the trim because I think deep slate is going to look a lot better as the actual main roof block. And then what we can do is we can grab out the old stack tool and we can just stack this all the way down to the other end to create the entire roof. Bang, there it is. All right, I'm gonna copy this, flip it over, fix up the trim in this little gap, and we'll get started on some other rooftop details. Okay, I've just gotten started on our dormers, but as you can see, I've got the entire roof done. It just kind of looks like a big ass like dorm building or something at the moment. So we are obviously lacking a lot of details. I think I want to get an extra little extension out here, and I've got some really cool ideas for that and on the roof too. But firstly, of course, we need to get this dormer slapped the hell in. I've just created one side here, and then we just flipped it. I'm making sure that's going to be like the right size. It looks pretty good to me. All right, there is our dormers done. That makes the roof look so much better. Like just those little additions, it's crazy. But I think now, before I continue with the roof decorations, I want to build this extra little adjoining building first, just so we can, you know, kind of balance out the features. All right, so for this building extension, I placed down a rectangle using the shape tool to get the general thing laid out. I then added a stone brick trim around the top, along with some walls and iron bars on top for a different style roof. At the front, I wanted a big stinking conveyor belt coming out and leading down into the quarry as if this was how the ores are transported into the building or something like that. Okay, here is what I have ended up doing. So I actually decided on getting two what's it called? Conveyor belts just to balance this out. I definitely feel like we need some supports underneath these, whatchamacallits. And so I think a cool design is going to be like a little bit of a T-piece thing, and then that's just going to connect down simply like that. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do now is get a bunch of smaller details done as a time lapse. I want to get like some big smokestacks added on top of here, maybe some on here and like some actual full ones around somewhere. So let's get to it. All right, continuing on. First off, I added those supports underneath the conveyor belt so they're not just floating. I then turned my attention back to the new building and added some various details like pillars, arches, windows, and all sorts. After getting the back done and doing a bit more refining, I headed up to the top to add some burner smokestack things out of copper, which look pretty cool. After adding some iron rectangle unit things, I then began adding texture to our buildings, adding andesite to the stone building and granite and polished granite to the brick one. I also felt a big sign on the main building would look cool, so I hand-built the letters and placed it up top, which fit in perfectly. Now onto some larger smokestacks behind the main building, of which I built using the shape tool with cylinders to make the process very quick and easy. I then moved on to adding a big old entrance on the side to start a little bit of a railway. Alright, and here is the overview of our build so far. Dude, this is looking crazy good. Dude, why are these not going up very high? I've got freaking hay bales under all of them. I don't know, dude. I don't give a shit. But yeah, this ended up actually being a little bit flipped around. I actually wanted this railway to go out this way, and I was originally going to add worker housing all up here, but I don't know, it just turned out that you know, the railway's coming out of here. So I actually showed this to my wife. Thankfully, she gave me a really cool idea to instead actually have this railway go up into another building, like another processing plant of sorts, like as if this is maybe the building that's smelting all of them. Kind of makes sense. We've got a lot of burners back here. And then maybe once it moves into this building, it's getting like formed into parts or something like that. And then maybe we could kind of disperse worker housing like throughout the building and the gaps, and maybe a bit over here as well. There we go. So that is the width there. And I'm going to have this middle part go up another floor, and then we'll make the roof around that. You know what I'm saying? There we go. So I'm thinking that's going to be the length there. That is another very big building. Jesus. Okay. And there's our walls. So I think this is going to have like almost a warehouse kind of aesthetic. I think that's going to look quite nice. Actually, it's pretty white, so I think what I might do, I'm going to set up a tool mask here. All we have to do is just do block equals and then our, what is it, freaking smooth quartz blocks. So that means everything that we do with Axiom now is only going to replace smooth quartz blocks. So what we can do is just grab the noise painter tool and use our new blocks, which I'm thinking some diorite and polished diorite is going to look a lot nicer. There we go. We got the same kind of texturing pattern as our other building over there. And now all we have to do is just start painting this on. Bang. There we go. That is looking a lot better. It's just too smooth, you know? Who would have guessed smooth quartz blocks is smooth, you know? Jesus Christ. Now, I did also just realize that this window kind of pattern is, wow, yeah, it's exactly the same as what we have over here. So we need to think of something a bit different. Okay, I know I said I wasn't going to do windows, but these are a bit different at least. And I think what could look cool, I remember with this build, yeah, these windows here. I want to try that kind of window overlaid here. Please be, yes, okay, there's diorite walls. Thank frickin' Christ for that. When the hell are we getting polished diorite walls, man? Like, seriously, this crap's just... Like, why are half of the walls missing in this frickin' game, dude? But yeah, so the idea is we mimic the shape of the, what is it? What's the idea? Yeah, we mimic the shape of the frickin' thingamajiglet here. Maybe whack some slabs on top of there. Something like that. That's looking pretty nice. It's also a bit of a subtle detail. It's only like, you know, because it's the same block. I think it actually looks pretty cool. Might even get some stairs on the bottom like that. And yeah, dude, that's actually really nice. So let's clone that, paste that over on that side too. Oh, hell yeah, that is looking sweet. Okay, and there it is so far. That is looking awesome. I think for the roof, I reckon just one cohesive block. No, like, no trims or anything. I think that might look cool, maybe. We'll see how we go, and I think tough is going to be the bloody block for that. Now, I don't know, do we add a trim? Yeah, we probably should, just because it usually looks a lot better having a trim. So I think maybe we'll kind of inverse this one. We'll grab the deep slate here for the trim. I reckon that'll look pretty good. Oh yeah, that's looking super nice. That's like sleek as. Now, usually in like these kind of warehouse buildings, they have like these like kind of vents at the top, I guess. So I think designing one that'll fit in each section and we can clone it down will look pretty cool. So it's basically like a dormer, okay? But it's just like a really shallow dormer, kind of like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Just like a little small detail to kind of just break up the repetitive or like kind of the boringness of the roof as it was before, I guess. But we do need to add on this roof too, which I'm thinking just like a pointy or like a curved roof. You grab the path tool, make sure you close out of your tool mask. We're gonna click our left point. And so obviously this is just a straight line at the moment, but what we can do, we can change this here from line, change it to Bezier curve. And well, obviously that's done absolutely freaking nothing. But once we drag this, we'll drag this one out to maybe here, and then we'll add another point back there. And there you can see we have our curve. We can obviously also choose to use stairs and slabs to make that a lot smoother. But honestly, I think I like the look of that kind of a bit more blocky. I might add in some slabs by hand. But now we can also grab this middle point here and kind of play with this to adjust our shape. So if you want a bit more of an aggressive curve, you could go, you know, that'd be a wacky roof. Okay, no, I'm just joking around. Clone this and flip it over to the other side. Bang. There is our roof shape. And now we can grab our tuff and we'll just build out this first line and once again, just stack this all the way down to the end. But yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna get the rest of this done as a bit of a time lapse. So let's get to it. I noticed this earlier, but for some reason, Distant Horizons is using the chunks from one of my Ocean Only 100 Days worlds, so that's why the background is a little funny looking. But back to the build, we did get that front design completed, and then we went on to adding another little bit of a sign, this one a processing sign, because this building is going to be like a processing plant, I guess, like the next step after the ore factory. Okay, and there is our new building all done, the processing building. I guess the idea is that like, I think I already explained this actually. I don't know if I'm gonna have a third like stage, I guess, maybe a building over here or something. I don't know. But what I do know is that we have plenty of area here to get my original idea built, which was some worker housing. So my idea for these is to have like kind of housing like barracks, I guess. And I'm basically, my reference right now is from DayZ, the barracks building. I don't know, that's just what I have in my head. And I think it'll turn out quite nice. I just don't know if I want to use like stone for the walls and then wood for the roof, or you know, kind of the opposite. So these are going to be some fairly long buildings. So I'm thinking we have kind of maybe this kind of shape. So we'll have our door and then window. Now, as for the roof, I'm thinking stone. A stone trim is going to look pretty good. And I want a nice mellow roof. So we're going just with the old slabberoos here. With that half done, of course, what we're going to do, scroll, Control F, flip, bang, paste it in. All right, and there is our roof done, looking pretty good. I reckon we will get a couple of chimneys up in here. And there we have it. That is the perfect, simple chimney. Bang. Maybe let's try oak. I feel like birch would be cool, but I just know people get angry at me if I use birch. It's just the way it is. Just people, everyone hates it, you know? Yeah, I think oak. Oh yeah, that actually looks really good. I really like the contrast of the oak between the spruce wood. It looks, I don't know, it just looks cool. All right, yeah, that is a nice little simplistic kind of building. I'm just gonna go ahead and add all of these details in by hand around the place. Get the windows and the doors added in. And honestly, I might actually make maybe another variant of this. I don't know, maybe like an L-shaped one I think would be cool. And then I'm pretty much just going to place a crap load of them around the place. We do also need to get a bridge built over this, I just spit all over my monitor, you dickhead. We need to get a bridge built over this railway here. I'll get it figured out though. This is gonna be a big stinking time lapse, so get ready. Yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so I played around with the bridge until I realized something a bit more realistic would be just a regular path with some of these things. I honestly don't know what they're called. After creating some other house variants, I began filling out the worker housing area along with getting some other details like lampposts and storage piles. Over on the other side of the mine, I began the next much larger housing area, and yeah, I know I said we'd be doing something other than villages or cities this episode, but somehow I still just managed to sneak one into this build. I think it definitely just livens up the area a lot though. Alright, and here is a look at our area so far. Dude, those two villages have just filled this out so nicely. That is crazy good. But I have actually spent some time thinking about the third and final build I want to add like yonder. And that is going to be, of course, a storage house or warehouse more likely. You know, the logical step is, you know, stuff gets smelted, it gets processed, and then it gets stored. It just makes sense, okay? So I'm going to be making an absolutely gigantic warehouse here. I just don't know. I don't know the style or the block palette. I don't really know anything about it other than it's going to be, you know, storing stuff, okay? I also still need to build a big old crane, which I'm thinking is going to go right there. Now, I kind of know how I want to do this crane, so we might as well just actually get this done first. All right, so first things first, we of course need a big old sturdy base for this thing. Out of stone bricks, I'm thinking is going to look good. And I kind of want to do like a mix between like a modern and medieval crane. So I feel like maybe getting a, you know, like the big main pillar pillar made out of wood would be cool. Shit, why am I building this by hand like some kind of idiot? Stack this crap up, man. Stack it. Then I'm thinking we just get like a bunch of these like kind of crosses going throughout the entire build. You know, like the walls, I guess. Okay, dude, I've tried out like 8 different designs using like iron bars and stairs and slabs, and this is just what I'm going with, man. It's not great, but it'll get the bloody job done, I'm telling you. Let's stack these up a little higher just to give ourselves some room for this kind of top portion, of which I don't really know how to build, so I'm not good at these like kind of modern, you know, I don't know how to build a goddamn freaking giant crane, okay? But I know that they do have like this little box thing at the top that they obviously work in. Oh, that reminds me, we of course need a way to actually get up here. So let's crack out the ladders. I'm sorry for all you bedrock boys out there. You're not going to be able to do this, unfortunately. But this is just the coolest way to do ladders. So we're going to get some backwards frickin' whatchamacallits going all the way down. Chuck a ladder on there before we start stacking. Grab both of them. Stack that all the way down. Bang. Look at that. Definitely think this build, we can definitely introduce a little bit of stone. So maybe just as like a reinforced kind of top area, we can get some stone brick walls. Why am I building all of these by hand, dude? What am I doing? I keep forgetting I can use Axiom here, dude. Okay, so for the actual crane bit, I feel like I'm gonna redo those things again because it just looks weird, man. It just looks like a staircase or something. I don't know. I'll get that figured out. And then I think in that time lapse as well, we'll get started on our storage house building. I want to do a different block palette. I don't know what. I'm gonna think about it while I build this out. And yeah, let's get freaking well to it. Okay, first and foremost, I did end up replacing the support design to something I finally liked, and then continued with the crane's craning area, adding the end bit and the hangy bit. Next, I built a supporty bit for the craney bit, and also a bit of a counterweight on the opposite side. And once the crane was all done, I began working on the absolutely massive storage warehouse, deciding on a pallet of stone bricks for the pillars, oak planks and stripped oak logs for the walls, and spruce planks and andesite for the roof. When it came to the roof, I felt like these kind of ventilation things were a pretty cool idea, along with having some of them open and some closed. I went with some arched window designs and also began hand making the storage sign to go on the side of the building like all the others. I then built our railway that leads into the building, along with building some of these cute storage shelf designs with chests and barrels on, and duplicated them all throughout the interior. Now on the exterior, I did want to get a whole heap more barrels and just general crap everywhere to make it look like this place was overflowing with juicy loot. I also made sure to add some more detail down in the actual mine itself, adding a crane and other things like barrels and ore piles. Now, oh my god, dude, the trees, they always come in clutch, just filling in all the gaps absolutely beautifully. And well, of course, we needed to also link up our new build to the rest of the world. Now, honestly, I didn't intend for this to be like one of my 10 hours straight building videos, but it just kind of turned out that way. I started this build at, I think, 9 o'clock this morning, and it is now 8:36 p.m. on the bloody dot. So it's actually been closer to 12 hours here. But man, holy crap, was it worth it. This area, I think, I don't know if it would be my best build in this world yet, but dude, I just love how different it is compared to everything else. And yeah, as always, if you want to download this world with every single build you can see here, along with, dude, any build, any world you see on my channel, like overall, you can download on my freaking Patreon, okay, man? So go check it out. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go to bloody bed, and I'll see you in the next video.